Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back. And I hope, as usual, we'll learn something from each other. We are always wondering what happened when we create a direct line to our Creator, when we see ourselves elevated or we pass the barriers in the universe and unicorns, and we establish a field with our Creator, what we think, what we know, all the fields of the universe are connected to it, as is a plasma of creation itself. And what would it do? What changes will bring to us? What is the fear of the man? If we touch, we find a single line of fields which reaches it, would it change us? Would it elevate us? Would it bring another dimension into play? And as we know, as one of the scientists said, and as we always played with magnets, if we turn a magnet, a spherical magnet, the other spherical magnet which is with it, as twin part of it, will rotate. But it brings back a lot of deep thinking and understanding. And that is, we know us, our planetary system, the sun every 23 years changes polarity. And we are connected to it, but we don't know that. Our polarity doesn't change. Why? But the interesting thing is, we are so minute that the field just passes. The field, the strength of the change of magnetic poles of the sun every 11.5 years does not touch any of us. We just know if something happened, there is something we discovered recently. But every 11 years, every 23 years, how come the Earth doesn't change polarity? What happened to us? And because it's such a big mass that we are part of it, we are not even considered as, the sun is considered to be 99% of the mass of the solar system. All this planetary system are just the dust, the speck of dust in its size, in its operation. But the interesting thing is, when it does every 11 years, when it changes its polarity, is this polarity is sequential with its twin star? Does it change over there? We know there is a twin star. We are aware of its existence. We have confirmation of it through disasters which has happened to us and the rest of it. But how come it changes with that, but it doesn't change us and the other planetary system? We have our own independent time of switching our polarity on this planet. What controls this change? And we say so many thousands of years, Earth polarity changes. We have evidence, we measure, we see the flow of the materials, we see in the layers of the soil, we can see that dated directly. But as the sun change of polarity does not touch the Earth, so the change of polarity of the Earth doesn't touch the man because you're so minute. We are exactly the same as the sun and the Earth. But what happened if the line of magnetic field between the Earth and the sun opens up? That there is no atmosphere. At the moment, we don't have any direct line connection to the sun. We just see field forces. There is no interaction whatsoever directly with the sun. at all. We are a rotating object, and the sun is the rotating object in respect to the Earth, and we are another rotating object, the plasma of the soul of the man. What is interesting is that when this changes polarity, this doesn't. This carries on with his work. And so is our soul. Our soul is a third party. The direction of the motion of the sun is opposite to the earth. If we look at the moon rotates in opposite direction. In a way, if you look at it, it's the other way around for you not to get confused later on. I'll put them in the right way that you can see it. In a way, the sun goes anti-clock. The earth goes clockwise. That's why we have the horizon on the east. When we look at the moon is anti-clock. But isn't the soul of the man under the moon? So is the direction of the rotation of our soul, in fact, clockwise? It has to be. It has no choice. Because the fact is, it has to be anti-clock because we have to follow the law of physics. It cannot be exceptions. This brings a lot of understanding to the world of creation of the man. Because when the sun changes its polarity every 11 years, does not affect the earth. And the same change of polarity of the earth every so many thousands of years does not affect the man who live on it. The same, it doesn't affect the moon. It's something individual. But if Earth had a twin structure somewhere in the solar system, and we know there is one planet which actually goes opposite, but we know how they change polarity. But if we follow this pattern of work, which is in line with the work of universe, what we see in macro is in micro. So we see the body to change, the soul of the man to rotate anti-clockwise. Then if you go back in the structure of the man, it brings a lot of understanding why a heart is on the left side, why we need a jolt of it every few seconds. Isn't that jolt the change of polarity which the twin sister takes, twin's partner takes, in consideration of the rotation of the soul of the man's magnetic field? Isn't it why when we damage the heart, the soul disappears? Because it lost its twin, it lost its operational control. Man looks at the heartbeat of the man for delivering blood, but it's a powerful magnetic field system because when his work gets interrupted, we have a heart attack, we have a stroke. When the emotion gets interrupted in the soul of the man, in the dimension of his physicality, in the head of the man, can damage the heart. This brings a lot of understanding to us from the psychosomatic direction of the work of the man. Now, if we look at plasmatic structure of the body of the man, the heartbeat, the soul of the man, the direction and dimension of the rotation, the position of the heart, the heartbeat, then the world of the science of the body of the man totally changes. How far in line from the central line of the brain is the central line of the heart? Does the change in its position due to any reason brings a change in the shape and operation of the brain? It does. We have a stroke, the energy release so high when it goes up, always touches the left side of the brain. We see paralysis with a stroke usually on the left side. During the stroke or because of the stroke and during a heart attack. If you understand these things, a lot of the structure of how to release, control your central energy, we call the soul in the space, changes. The world of medicine will change. If you play with the field transfer in the brain of the man, you can realign the heart, even is on the left side, to move his energy to the side that is realigned directly with the physical structure, a spinal line of the man and the brain. One of the reasons that man dies so early, so fast, within 70, 80 years, is the position of the heart. Because it's not just pumping the blood, it has to keep realigned with the brain of the man, with the soul of the man, and the dimension of physicality of the man. Why so many people survive longer and longer? Have they ever considered the position of the heart in respect to central line soul of the man? You'll find an answer there because it needs less energy. It doesn't need such a high heartbeat, and it changes it because scientifically, the world of science tells us after so many million something heartbeats is the average heartbeat of your system, your motor stops. We have even calculated it. How many heartbeats and from what point we start thinking it's time to say goodbye. But what happened if the biggest question for man is when in life or at point of death, you connect directly to the Creator. You're on the same direction of rotation. And would this create us a new dimension of understanding? What do we need to get rid of to be able to create this channel? We have to get rid of those things which us as human beings have created for ourselves. Extra atmosphere, emotion, attachment, and everything else. And if we manage, due to any condition, to get rid of this, and happen that we and the rays of the Creator finds direct line with us, what will happen to our soul? You think this is impossible, but we know it's possible. We've seen it. Our scientists scientifically have observed it. And we're waiting to see what is going to be the reaction of both the Earth and the Sun when they connected directly magnetic field to each other. We are waiting to see how the soul of the earth in a coming time will respond to this event. When Earth lost all its plasmatic magnetic field strength in a way, we didn't lose our atmosphere, and it established a direct line from the sun to the earth in a very short time. We haven't seen any changes. We're still a year later observing it. And did its delivery of such a massive amount of field energy has brought a change to this planet since last year. I think maybe in 50 years, 100 years, scientists will look at the event in April of 2023 and the effect of the direct connection between the Earth and the Sun magnetic field. If we understand this, then us as humans will understand what happened when we get rid of all the attachment. This atmosphere of me and me aside, this dimension of the facade around the soul of the man, and we manage to create that dimension of connection with the Creator, how we will react. Scientists are observing and studying the effect of last year's event, when the sun and the earth managed to create a direct line of magnetic field to each other. As due to a massive solar eruption, with the strength of it, it pushed back the magnetic field of the what is called atmosphere around the earth, and in this few second instance created a direct line. How much energy did we download from the sun? What information did we get from each other? It's the first time we know, scientifically have evidence of the mother kissing the child. That's all it is, feeling the warmth of the soul of the sun. But what happened with us if we hit that point? Would we recognize it? Or this happened to all of us, where in fact the game is played in a different way, where we as humans, we lose this barrier and we have nothing to protect us as the blood flow at the point of death, and we become connected to the soul magnetic field of our planet. Then it comes a question: would man at the point of death gets, as it loses its atmosphere magnetic field pressure, as we saw with the sun last year, would this energy from the earth, from the soul of man and the soul of the planet, pushes, dictates a new dimension and direction, in a way, kissing a child and letting it go? This become a push which propels the soul of the man in the open space of the universe for the child to find its place in the dimension of creation. In the last year event, the central system of the earth still had half of the pressure on the south side, on the southeast side. So it did not lose the totality. So it was still in charge, but we saw the connection from the North Pole directly to the sun. We received the immense amount of energy. Most of you remember this event when the what we call aurora moved down toward the central line to the equator. It moved down all the way in Northern Europe. We could see the aurora, if you remember. The sun flare was so huge, powerful, that it literally blow everything up, blew open the magnetic field connection of the Earth, creating that dimension of protection, and got in touch direct. It's the first time we have such a record. But we always say, when you want to understand what you don't see in micro, you look in macro, and vice versa. But when, at the moment of the life of the man, we have this heartbeat which creates that pumping of the second soul, continuously holding the soul of the man attached to itself, and like a dangling belt has a little space to move. The brain cannot move, the soul of the man cannot move, so something has to give in that position. So in a way, the winding, dangling, the little pendulum on the grandfather's clock, which is the part of the man, the motion he has in the heart, the movement he makes the heart, is that grandfather's little dangling pendulum in the clock of the life of the man. And the most important thing for man to understand is it the energy taken by the soul of the man which stops the clock pendulum to swing, or does the swing of the pendulum, due to weakness of this cage and structure, stops the work and separation of the soul of the man from his physicality. And then it comes at that point when the man's defense system, because the pendulum stops, and it stops the secondary system, which is the blood flow, the cage of the soul of the man releases, and man moves in the same direction as the sun, but not in the same direction as the soul of the planet. Does that is attracting the soul of the man to itself as two opposite magnets? Or is that because of its what we call rigidity of the time and the place and the space of the fields of the earth creates a spring for the soul of the man to spring out into the space of the universe to find its place according to what we call the field strength of the soul, which the man has gathered during the lifetime. In a way, we become a slingshot piece where God knows where we land, because the magnetic field of the soul of the man in rotational dimension should have been attracted by its creator, which is the soul, by law of physics. But due to his vulnerability and the position, these fields become the rejector of the soul of the man into the infinity space of the universe. If you understand this part of technology, if you understand the interaction of the plasma fields of the whole system, a new science will emerge, which is emergence of the positioning of the what we call the structure of the physicality of the man, and the structure of the what we call the soul of the man. And if you understand this, if you go deep enough to it, you can predict in the depth of the fields of the every nitty-gritty from DNA to the cell, by changing the magnetic fields, to create a change in RNA with an energy pack, which will affect the what we call the DNA of the man, which in fact, if you how you learn to control the dimension of the speed of rotation of your soul, will allow you to manifest yourself in another position by transmutation in the shape, place, and position which you can survive anywhere in the universe. This is, in fact, our soul is a chameleon. It's the heart of that chameleon. And how atmosphere around it reacts, this chameleon will show its field interaction with that atmosphere. This is how you take shape in a space. This is how the future development of the technology will make that fish tank that you see yourself, how you're going to end up in that planet, depending on the strength of your soul, how much good you've done, how much bad you've done, what you have given from your soul that you have not much to be left to interact with. If you understand all the little words which I've said in past 5 or 10 minutes in detail, you have found the path to your creator. You have found how to break that magnetic field around your soul, which keeps you away in reaching, in a way directly connecting to your creator. I made man in the image of myself. And the physicality of the man is created by the field strength of the soul of the man. And the environment of the womb of the mother dictates the shape of the man. When you arrive in another destination, the environment, the womb of the planet, in interaction with your soul, decides the shape of your physicality. As your soul has to survive on a point of arrival, in a position of arrival. But in fact, when you get there, it's just a nightmare. You wake up, nobody can hear me. Nobody can understand me. And I didn't look like this on the sun. If the planet is liquid and you can look into the lake and see your face, you run like mad. I didn't look like this. I'm aware of my soul, but the physicality is not what I'm used to. And then you understand in more depth how the technology of the future, in development of an understanding of the transmutation, will affect the whole process of bringing this technology for mankind to become ready for it to understand. Many people, once it becomes public, will raise fear amongst the people because they know their souls cannot go in the commitment of the faults they've done by their physicality to deter the others to reach the point of maturity of their soul. As I said before, we are testing new systems that allows you to expand your soul beyond, and in that process to bring a cycle of the change in your physicality and soul of physicality and the soul of the man. We can create conditions that when you get to that point, you can see if you can reach to the point of, in a way, detachment from the fields of the creation to become to see your future. What will be, because those you see in the present life have already passed part of it. And your scene for what you're going to see is already been decided. But the connection of the soul of the man, with the connection of the soul of the planet, with the connection to the soul of the solar system, and then to the galaxy, all has a sequential event, and no one can change it, even though we think we are in charge of, we are in control of. We dictate the future. There's a very interesting test that you knowledge seekers can do and learn from it in a very deep way. Put a cup of gas and rotate it clockwise over your magnet. and drink the water. Then fill up the water again, or new water. Don't use the water which you tasted and took the energy when it was going clockwise. Now with the new water, put it on top of your mug and watch. You'll wish that the system will go anti-clock and the other one's gone clockwise. Taste both waters. Drink it and see what is the difference between the two. Which one is the food and which one is the medicine? Which one gives you what pleasure and which one does take the pleasure from you? Which one are both there to serve you and providing you with the facilities of the material to exist and to survive? It'll be interesting what you report back. The next step is when you put your water, do not put it directly on the magnet material, the box. Keep a distance from it. If you hold it in the right hand or you hold it in the left hand and then taste the water, you have to remember that you have to be in a position to be secondary to the structure of this planet, as the system has already changed itself. Then tell yourself, what's the difference between the two? And then move the same water to the right hand and do the same thing and see how you feel, what change brings to you. I think many of you will be shocked. Many of you would not believe that just changing the hand and changing the position of a cup can create so much change in emotion and understanding. In a way, you should be able to feel the condition of the heart attack and the condition of the good life as the magnetic field of your soul and your heart will dictate the connection and correction on the material of the detector. If you come for the section or session for plasma technology next time, bring your magnets. And remember that which way your magnets are twisted first and to which material they belong to. I would like to see the show in the mind of your knowledge seekers. The emotion and realistic response. Then you can go to the next step and try another step in the interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the Creator. In the upcoming sessions of September, I'll put you through this position. I force it, that you feel the change with your physicality. When we bring everything to zero and you start the structure of the life around your system. If mankind understands the totality of what's entailed, man will understand the process of creation. Man will understand how to transmute, how to reach the soul of the Creator. The lesser you carry, the lesser fields you have created amongst yourself and the soul, the sooner the man will create the connection with his Creator. Detachment is not that get rid of your clothes and the wealth. Detachment is to get rid of the fields which you have created within you, that you can at least stand a chance to create that line of connection. The reason I brought this topic up today is that you have to start learning the process of magnetic fields. You've been taught a few pieces to play by magnets and that's it, you get bored. In this place, there's no time for play. And you need to learn and you need to be part. Understanding a field of the creation is the must for those who become the passenger of the universe. As you get it wrong, you might one day hit the ceiling of a planet that nowhere else you can go to. Many times in trials on the Fridays, we have set out to push the soul of the man out, to give it enough energy to know. And in last Saturday meeting, we moved it in a way that we open the gate and see where the man goes. What man does with his dimension of physicality. And what will be the next step in the dimension of the creation for the soul and physicality of the man. I hope you understood simple teaching of the space, time, and the sun. And I hope you can apply it when it comes time for transmutation in how to create and establish a line of communication with your Creator, that His wish for you to be where in the which universe of its creation will become obligation and part of the structure of the creation of the next generation of men. Thank you very much for today, and I hope you understood. And if you haven't listened to teaching 2 or 3 times, you understand it fully.